I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hi, how are you? Good afternoon. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Dr. Mike Gustafson. I'm Aaron Dickens. We're joining you today until 6. We'd love to hear what you have to say on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at Double T 97.3.com. All guests appear via the Visual Edge IT hotline. Gus, how you going?
Doing pretty good. Just, hump day, man. Just doing my thing, right?
I would assume. Yeah, I would guess you're not doing someone else's thing.
No, just plugging away. Just chopping that wood, watering that tree.
We have not a lot of kind of new developments to discuss. We've kind of hit a brief, it seems, pause in transfer portal activity as the graduate transfer types have already declared largely their intentions. There's been, it seems, a bit of a slowdown in some of the coaching news. Kind of paying attention to TCU today, as there's some speculation that there might be some staff movement there, which I don't think should surprise anybody, considering they went from playing for a national championship to 5-7. But still, I guess TBD on what that will be. No further reporting that I've seen on the Houston job, unless something's come out in the last hour or two. And nothing major in terms of significant coordinator hires either, right? Tyler Bray was. Oh, that was you. You need to take that?
No.
Tyler Bray was elevated. I think that was his name. The Oregon State DC. Now he's their head coach. It's something weird though. He's their current defensive coordinator. He's now their full-time head coach. He was not named the interim coach initially after Jonathan Smith left for Michigan State. And Bray has said that he will not be with the team for the bowl game, which is weird.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
This in the Yates Flooring Center chat line. AD, are you high? No, I am definitely not high. I have not been altered since I went on the cruise in June. So I think I had a beer or
really
most of one 2 weeks ago. But that's it. Yeah,
that doesn't constitute altered. One beer doesn't constitute altered. Yeah, I got you.
I don't really do that a whole lot.
What, the one
beer
thing?
I'm concerned. Why do you think that I'm high?
Because you're either all in on the getting altered, or you're not engaging at all. Is that what you're saying? You don't do that very often.
I'm generally, Gus, a very objective oriented person.
Right.
Which is why I'm so impatient when I drive, because I want to get to where I'm going, even if it's like work or the grocery store or the dentist. And that's why, if I go on a road trip, I want to leave very early and just get it over with. And so, if I'm going to get bleep-faced,
then you're in.
I want to get bleep-faced. Now, I don't take it to the extreme. I don't, ingest alcohol through my southern port of entry, for example, because that will get the job done quicker.
Apparently that accelerates it.
Oh yeah, you absorb alcohol.
I mean, I've heard of that.
Sure.
But I didn't know if that was like a urban legend or something.
No.
Do you know anyone who's tried that? Who tipped up a bottle of tequila and put it in?
I know someone that has accelerated their state of alteredness by utilizing their southern port of entry. Yes.
Really?
Yes. I can't really go any further.
I wonder how that works. I mean, because you'd have to grab it unless you're walking around like a burrito, or it's like a glass with the beer sticking out of it.
You need help.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know that there's an easy way to do that by yourself unless you're just like propped up against a wall with like a funnel and a tube, you know?
God dang. Yeah.
And probably some kind of lubricant.
I would probably hope so. Dang.
But yeah, anyways, I don't know how we got here.
I wonder if you did that, I wondered you'd have to go like, is there any value in, if you did it that way, there's no value in like buying high dollar liquor.
Oh, no.
You just want,
you can't taste it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, go ahead and get the cheap stuff because you're just.
But you got to be careful apparently, because I think it's, from what I understand, it's very easy to overdo it.
Because you're still getting into some blood alcohol content.
For sure.
Yeah. So you don't want to just take it all.
Hey man, this is a family show. Be careful. I'm trying to.
Holy Moses. Yeah, I've always that's good info, because I've always heard that was sort of. I mean, I've heard that, but I always assumed that was kind of urban legendy, because it seems plausible. But like, who's going to try it?
Who was the first person to
there
try
you
that,
go.
you think?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, I would like to see a 60-minute segment on that.
Some guy with like wicked tonsillitis or something going, I really just want to tie one on, and I can't, my throat's killing me. So, and what other options were tried? Like, or could it have been somebody that had stuck something else in there and got like some sort of a feeling off of that and went, I guess I could do that with alcohol, right?
If this was XM, I could go further, but I'm not going to.
XM, it's not true.
This from
terrestrial radio.
The Yates Flooring Center chat line from Tyler. I heard Clint say earlier that if Houston gets Kingsbury as its head coach, he will eat cheese weenies for a full week. It's not really much of a punishment, honestly. If I was Clint, I would be rooting for Kingsbury to get the job now.
I thought Clint was going to issue something better than that.
I know, right? Not really.
I mean, given the conversation we just had, like, there you go, Clint. I think we just laid out the challenge. You can get Jamie to do the installation.
Yeah, do it on the bottom
somebody
line.
Else.
Yeah. This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. WTF is going on? Somebody asked me if I was high, and so I just answered them. No, I'm not. Somebody says this. Wow, went off into a bar ditch in a hurry, guys. It's off-season talk, right? Dallas has this. This may be the least likely of conversations I thought we would have on the shows today. I feel like it's not that outside of
way more creative than more offense talk. Like,
yes,
more tech offense talk. No, if we start getting a bunch of tech offense texts, we're going deep
back
into this
butt chugging.
Butt chugs. Yes,
more tech talk next.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hi there, how you going? It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Gus. I'm Aaron. We're joining you today until 6 o'clock. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. You can weigh in at Double T 97.3.com or through the Double T 97.3 mobile app presented by Happy State Bank. This on the chat line from Bobby Hot Dogs. Gus, is the southern port of entry the reason that Clint is constantly drinking electrolyte? Someone else says the first thing that I hear after turning on Tech Talk is a reference to butt chugging. Genuinely love this show. I'm glad that you enjoy it. Thank you.
Apparently, Jackass 2.
It's a great
Apparently
series
our
of
boy
films.
Johnny Knoxville gave us. You can just go right to it if you want to see what that looks like.
You have a timestamp for us. This in the chat line. Referring to the southern place as a port of entry is cringy. Laughing emoji. Mine's exit only. Well, in this scenario, if you are involving in the non-oral consumption of alcoholic beverages, I guess it is a port of entry. This in the chat line. from Mark. You guys are going to have to go to great heights to top the beginning of this show.
Thank you very much.
This on the chat line. Can you guys explain why on Lubbock Sports Station you have Friendship Tigers basketball, a Wolfforth team, against the Lubbock Monterey Plainsmen? What kind of ship are y'all sailing over there? Just like the city council, all of you people care about is Friendship and Cooper, and to hell with the rest of Lubbock.
That is a question for the brass. Oh, I would suggest this, and I don't know what the proper answer is. I think there's certainly you'd probably have to follow some money on that to get that to that answer. But it really is a good question. Text that to Chuck and them in the morning, to Chuck and Jamie, because both of those guys know the business side of the station infinitely better than you and me. Is infinitely.
Ask him about New Home too, Hines.
Well, yeah, if you want to get your answer, ask your question that you texted in. Do that one first, then go to the New Home thing. Because if you put New Home as A, you'll never get to B. Chucky's got a ball game to call tonight.
That's right. Yeah, Lady Raiders. They had a pretty good week last week.
Yep, big one tonight. Kind of an interesting little connection between one of the players on our team and the coach of the opposing team. So the opposing team's coach will be coaching against his daughter.
How about that?
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Wonder how many times that's happened.
Yeah, probably not a whole lot.
We will have that broadcast coverage beginning at 5:30 as the Lady Raiders take on UC Irvine, the Anteaters, I believe. Tip off at 6 on 107.7 Yes FM. High school fans on at 6 on 100.7 The Score. And then at 7 o'clock here on Double T 97.3, we'll have Cowboys Crosstalk. Gus, how you going?
How am I going?
I'm sorry, Clint, how you going?
Do I answer?
Yes. You good?
I'm Clint.
Yes, I know.
Clint is good.
You missed a whole segment on butt chugging.
That's what I asked, Ben, what did I miss? And the first thing he said was butt chugging, and I didn't question it. I'll be honest. I didn't even give him a weird look. But that seems right. That seems like home.
Yeah.
This on the chat line, New Home is nothing but transfers from Friendship and Cooper and just about every other Lubbock school. Somebody else says, enough with the high school sports program and get back to butt chugging. I think we're going to move on before I get some kind of dirty look from somebody.
There's a glass over there.
Not this glass.
No, that one over there. The one that's the important one over there.
Speaking of
all right, Gus. Yeah, I see it.
Did you hear about the two radio or sports talk radio hosts in Columbus on Monday? Columbus, Ohio. They were, of course, kind of going over the loss to Michigan over the weekend, and they were, mad, ticked off, frustrated, whatever. And so one of the hosts was like, "Hey, you know what? We're not going to commercial. We're just not." And then the program director kind of came in after a couple minutes and, hey guys, what are we doing?
Right.
And he goes, I don't want to go to commercial. I feel like, we don't, today of all days, we don't need to go to commercial. We don't want to. And the program director's like, well, I don't want to eat my vegetables. Is that what we're doing here? Like, what? So the guy that instigated it got called into the office and almost got fired.
That was just a little tantrum, huh? Just like a little of all the lines you draw in the sand, it's this one. Huh? We're not going to commercial, okay?
This question from Bobby Hot Dogs: if you butt chug Faygo, does that make you a chuggalo? This goes out to all the juggalos and the juggalettes. Whoop whoop! Pretty good. That was very good, Bobby Hot Dogs. A+ to you. How about this? If you would have told me before the season that you would have two players receiving like Big 12 awards, not like first team all Big 12 or whatever, but blank of the year
football players,
football,
yeah.
I would have thought, okay, well, things went according to plan. And yet, here we are. I mean, Austin McNamara named Big 12 Special Teams Player of the Year. Very well deserved. I think that he is on track to set the Big 12 mark for career punting average. I think that's right.
And he did not have a good – I mean, among the many things that didn't go well the other day, he had a rough day. And I was thinking about that, like, man, this would be the day for him to get off some 60-yarders and put up some numbers. But he had that one that was, 20-something? I mean, like a doinker.
Right.
Yeah.
I wondered, too, how much the injury to Jackson Knotts, how that affected things. He apparently has a substantial injury that will cause him to miss all of next season.
Yeah, big knee injury, big ACL.
So that is a sneaky, important kind of position to fill next year, right? Because, I mean, here's how you know he was good, right? You almost never heard his name, right? He's been a 3-year starter for you. Was really good, was an integral part of that operation with McNamara. And you never heard his name. No, right? And I don't remember an over snap or.
That's the best thing you once said about your deep snapper.
Yeah, no, and I'm not like trying to.
I'm with
make light of it. I mean, he was really, really good, and you're going to miss him next year in a big, big way. I think you do have like a high-ranked high school player coming in, right? Who is, at least according to one rankings outfit, the number 1 long snapper in the country, but still just a freshman, right? So that'll be kind of an under-the-radar storyline to watch going into next season. So McNamara, Special Teams Player of the Year, and then Ben Roberts, Defensive Freshman of the Year.
Ah, very cool. That dude was amazing in the sense that, he was among the many names that was being thrown around at the linebacker position, just going into the year, talking about depth, and that was a concern. That position was a concern in terms of depth. Rodriguez and Josiah Pierre as the 2 starters going in. Rodriguez is out for
right away
a substantial part of the season by halftime in Wyoming, and Ben Roberts comes in and gets the start the next week and leads the team in tackles against Oregon, like right out of the chute, and was among the several of those really young dudes that were high performers this year, especially on the defensive side.
More Tech Talk next.
Podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hey there, how you going? It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Gus and Clint. I'm Aaron. We're joining you today until 6 o'clock. We'll have Cowboys Crosstalk coming up at 7 on Double T 97.3. Big 12 released its football awards this afternoon, and curious if you all have any issues with anything. Ollie Gordon was named Offensive Player of the Year, Oklahoma State running back.
Probably not. I mean, they're playing in the championship game, and he was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, like, how many 200-yard games did he have this year for Oklahoma State?
Hey, that dude's a sophomore too, man. Right?
Oh, good. So he'll be back.
It does make you wonder, like, they gonna get that NIL stuff figured out, or
we'll see.
I mean, I can't.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's I apologize. Say, if it's not figured out, that dude could go to Alabama or somewhere.
What is most impressive to me about Ollie Gordon, at least statistically, he led the league in rushing, right? 1,580 yards. Taj was really the only person close to him at 1,443. He had 20 touchdowns, which is a lot, right? But here's the most impressive thing. Again, 1,580 yards about 100 of that was in the non-conference. He had almost as many rushing yards just in conference play as Taj Brooks had all season, 1,471 and 18 touchdowns. So in the non-conference, otherwise, to put this in kind of perspective, in the non-conference, he was the Big 12's 23rd leading rusher. He had 19 carries for 109 yards, 2 touchdowns.
So it's like they went, you know what'll help this quandary we have of 3 quarterbacks is instead of just fiddling around with essentially the same quarterback, we just start using this guy who's incredible.
And he played in all 3 games. It wasn't like he was injured or suspended. I mean, he 7 carries for 44, 9 for 53, and 3 for 12. 3 carries, 12 yards in their 33-7 loss to South Alabama.
I was just about to say, I didn't know that total, but I was. You think about the level of improbability from where they were. That you and I sitting in here on the Monday following that, thinking that thing, he who knows where that program's headed, because they were still playing 3 quarterbacks. They
lost to Iowa State the following week, and ISU had lost to Ohio.
And then here we go. But it's akin to, we talked about it. The fact that Taj wasn't a centerpiece of our offense early this year, and then took off and strung together all those 100-yard games. It's a very similar conversation here.
It's just such an improbable season for the Pokes, right? Don't look good against Central Arkansas. Don't look great against Arizona State. Lose to South Alabama. Lose to a not very impressive at the time Iowa State team. And then from then on, the only loss that they suffered, right? They went 7. They won 7 of their next 8 games. The only loss they suffered was 45-3 in Orlando, right? Which just sticks out like a sore thumb,
Yep.
Ollie Gordon, Offensive Player of the Year. Any issues with Mike Gundy as the Big 12 Coach of the Year?
No, not really. I mean, I wouldn't have argued with Neil Brown for a different reason, but it's, especially when you frame it in the context that you and I just talked about. I mean, they're number 2 team in the conference, and a month in, they were a mess. Neil Brown was picked last. I mean, his team was picked last and did good things. I hope it was a nip and tuck race between those two. Then it'd be hard to argue with Sark. I mean, although they were picked to be very good and they delivered on it, but that Alabama win, I mean, they're in the hunt. They need some things to happen in front of them. And boy, that announcement on Sunday is going to be interesting on the Final Four of the college football playoff, because we're getting the same. They always talk about the idea here is to get the 4 best teams, not most deserving, best teams in there. Which when I hear that, the one that I'm immediately thinking about is, hey, Florida State, eyes on you, because your backup quarterback situation. But we can talk about that later. But the Texas thing, they've delivered after a decade of not delivering on predictions and expectations. They've really delivered this year. So if Sark was in that conversation as well, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
It's funny that last year it was like it was going to be Sonny. Sonny was your coach of the year. And I don't disagree with Gundy by any means. But I feel like this year you could have had 4 legitimate cases, because I clearly would have listened to the 3 you said. I would have listened to Matt Campbell off of the offseason that they had and the results that they ended up having. So I feel like you had a lot more cases be built this year, but I wouldn't have been upset with either way.
Iowa State quarterback Rocco Becht, speaking of Matt Campbell, named Offensive Freshman of the Year.
And that's their backup, essentially. I mean, think about it. Their incumbent returning starter was implicated in the gambling thing midsummer, late summer, as I recall.
And then Austin Booker, the Kansas player, named Defensive Newcomer of the Year. A.D. Mitchell, the Texas receiver, Offensive Newcomer of the Year. Taj Brooks was first team All Big 12. Right?
Yep.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, especially at that position. It's not easy to do.
He was the only Red Raider on the first team offense. In fact, the only Red Raider on the first or second team offense. Dadrian Taylor Demerson was second team All Big 12, and then Austin McNamara, obviously first team All Big 12. Oddly, not a unanimous selection, which I don't know, kind of bothers me. Any issue with Dylan Gabriel being the first team All Big 12 quarterback?
I don't know. I was looking at that. Probably not.
Any issue with Will Howard being the second team All Big 12 quarterback?
Maybe.
I thought his was certainly more interesting than Dylan Gabriel getting the first team. I don't know. I felt like, it was, I guess, the conversation of, well, who else would it be? Which I think would be Quinn Ewers. But Will Howard, he almost lost his job there for a month.
Like here in Lubbock when his backup scored 5 touchdowns?
Well, yeah, and even in the week before, or a couple weeks before when they had lost to Oklahoma State, there was just rumblings the whole time. And I guess, to his credit, he tightened the ship back up and Mr. Eyebrows, and took care of business as far as making sure it was his job. But I don't know.
He didn't miss any time this year, right? He played. He wasn't unavailable.
Correct.
Yeah. There's nothing about Quinn Ewers that just screams super impressive. Now, maybe that changes next year, and he's just a sophomore, so I'm not burying him, but the hype has arrived way before the production with him.
Oh, yeah, and probably no surprise there as touted as he was.
More Tech Talk next.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hey there, how you going? It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3 and DoubleT973.com with Gus and Clint. I'm Aaron. We're joining you today until 6 o'clock. We'd love to hear your thoughts and your comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at DoubleT973.com. We get this on the chat line, the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Ewers may go in the draft. He's saying he's unsure of what he will do at this time. There's already been some reports that he'll be back next year. I recognize that he's not officially confirmed those yet. I wish he would go in the draft. I think that would be really funny. For as badly as Texas crushed Texas Tech on Friday and just overwhelmed them, Quinn Ewers is far down the list of reasons why. He again, maybe he improves next year, and certainly sophomore Graham Harrell was not as good as senior Graham Harrell or Colt McCoy, sophomore to senior year, etc. So I'm not saying that it won't happen, but as of right now, yeah, just a guy, really.
I will say it looked better this year at times than I thought, but still not like, I don't see if you're salivating as a NFL organization over this version of Quinn Ewers. So I think with the reports,
there isn't a single NFL scout lusting over this current version of Quinn Ewers. Sark is a really good play caller, really innovative mind offensively. They have really, really good skill talent, especially when Jonathan Brooks was still healthy.
Yep, Xavier Worthy's a weapon.
And their lines are both very, very good. So, but Ewers is perhaps maybe the weakest part of that offense. This in the chat line, 80. I know that we got our butts whooped this weekend, but UT is so insufferable. Did we create a rivalry? I'd say so, but they think that we're little brother and we competed in every sport. Do they spend as much time thinking about Tech as Tech does Texas, right? Fan base, administration, etc. No. If that's how you want to define a rivalry, then no. They will always rank Oklahoma, A&M, and Arkansas in whatever order above Texas Tech. This on the chat line, after the Tech game, Ewers commented that he's not made a decision regarding the draft. I mean, that's what he said. But that would almost be like me saying that I have not made a decision about the draft.
Or like me calling up and withdrawing my name from consideration at Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah.
It's going to go.
Rick Stockstill finally getting out after like 18-something years. Pretty crazy there.
I want to go ahead and issue a statement. I'll do that now if you're okay with this, Aaron. I am not a candidate. You know, yours is interesting in that he, as we all remember, he skipped a senior year of high school. And so his high school class is finishing their second fall in college. So he's a younger player, a younger prospect, if you will.
He's a fringe top 10 quarterback prospect. Not like top 10 overall prospect. He is perhaps a late second rounder, early third rounder, based on what everyone thinks right now. Maybe that, well, not maybe. All that stuff will shift and change after the combine and pro days and interviews and all those things. But like right now, according to some of the position rankings that you can go find out online, and again, these aren't coming from NFL like offices, but he's behind like J.J. McCarthy. He's behind Shedeur Sanders. Mm-hmm. He's certainly behind Michael Penix Jr., Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. So, and obviously Caleb Williams is atop those rankings. This on the EH Flooring Center chat line from LBK Realtor 23. The number of Longhorn fans who've been blowing up my Twitter on a regular basis since 2021 say otherwise. Yeah, apparently there's a part of an article from Kirk Bowles from the Austin American-Statesman carrying some water for Texas officials who were very, well, they cited, and again, citing anonymous sources, reasons why Texas will not play Tech in any sports moving forward, at least for a long time, is because, A, they didn't like that Tech didn't roll out the red carpet for Chris Beard 2 years ago or whatever it was. They were very bothered by that. And then they were also bothered by Tech rushing the field. So it's a shame, really, that that those two things happened. That Tech wasn't nicer to Chris Beard, and Tech fans didn't say just politely in the stands after beating Texas last year, because otherwise, if they would have not done those two things, those Texas officials that talked to Kirk Bowles would have to spend another 30 seconds or so coming up with some other BS excuse why they don't want to play Texas Tech in any sports.
And I think I think this is a conversation about. Yeah, I think the storming the field, the context for that is the fact that we had the one student that ran into one of their guys or whatever and kind of took a shot at, which was stupid on our guys' side, but that was the clip that got all the play, But I think when this was going down and we were clamoring, not we, but just our camp was clamoring for a 20-year home and home or 10-year home and home or whatever. And maybe what came out of that is the Texas University Fund, as you and I have discussed. The issue here, I would think, has a lot to do with we're not coming to Lubbock to play you.
Right, yeah.
And we certainly, I would hope at Texas Tech would not go to Austin without a return trip. Now, would we ever meet him, or would they ever meet us in Jerry World or something someday? Possibly, but I doubt it, because they already do not a neutral site football game in Dallas.
I mean, like,
maybe in hoops, certainly in baseball, but
I'm fine with not playing them in football, for some indeterminate period of time. I'm not sitting here rolling my eyes at that Kirk Bowles stuff because I'm so desperate to play them.
Right, me either.
I'm fine with this ending for a while. I do think that it's going to be really funny because it's not like they're going to a tea party.
Oh, I agree.
In the SEC.
That's the beauty of it.
Right? Like, you think that that Texas Tech fans were out of line or, whatever for Beard. Like, wait till you go to Fayetteville for the first time as a member of the SEC, right?
Good luck in Baton Rouge.
Or, any of those places. Like, give me a break. Like, sack up. I mean, this is college athletics.
You telling me
if you can't handle being like, hey, we're the Joneses and everyone wants to be us, and it comes with the territory, and then you just get really soft and flaccid when somebody rushes the field or really hates their Judas of a former basketball coach. More Tech Talk next. Ooh, asparagus.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hey there, how you going? Happy Wednesday. Thank you for making us a part of your day with Gus and Clint. I'm Aaron. We're joining today until 6. Love to hear what you have to say on the Yates Flooring Center chat line at doublet973.com. This on the chat line. Forget those guys. If they're saying that they won't play us because of the beard stuff and they never intended on playing us anyway, good riddance to them. That's from Duff in Houston. Yeah, I don't have an issue. I mean, I understand why they wouldn't want to play Tech, right? I mean, you're already playing your 3 most prominent historic rivals in conference. The SEC will likely at some point, I would assume, go to 9 conference games. And at that point, you're already playing 9 conference games in a very tough conference. That makes perfect sense why you wouldn't want to add a 10th Power 5 game or Power 4 or whatever onto the schedule. I totally understand that. What I think is chicken bleep is anonymously and leaking it to a friendly reporter trying to paint the institution of Texas Tech.
Oh, sure.
The athletic department, the Tech fans as, these barbarians that, you don't know how to act, etc. That's stupid. Just, again, man up or girl up if it was a woman. I have no idea who the official was. And say, hey, there's no win for us. And I get it. I respect that. I understand it.
Throwing out all the lame excuses. Yeah, the outrage, air quotes. Yeah, it's so weak.
Like there was an article in the paper, the local paper, this week, a few days ago, maybe even just yesterday, from Don Williams, and talking about where he spoke with Kirby Hocutt, and the thrust of that article was Tech is re-examining some of their non-conference agreements. They are prioritizing moving forward having at least 7 home games every season. And so in years where you are scheduled to have 4 Big 12 home games, right, and 5 Big 12 road games, they're trying to make sure that you're not going on the road as well for non-conference games.
Right.
Especially against group of 5 opponents. So in 2025, you're playing at Colorado State right now. And Tech is looking to get out of that. And you don't have to go like, those Fort Collins peoples, I mean, they're just hooligans. You can just say, listen, this doesn't work for us. Right? There's no win in going there for us. We value a home game against a team that, we have more resources than, that we have more talent than, and that we can guarantee a win, and that can help us kind of build into, something that is far more important to us, which is a conference game and conference schedule. That's it. We can be real here.
Say no more. Yeah, I'm with you. And it's, the false outrage is just a bit much.
Yeah.
It's so par for the course. Yeah, they're not coming back here. Maybe we can play them in baseball or something, but or a basketball game or something. But I would bet the house that would be a meet in Dallas thing, or in this Fort Worth thing at Dickies Arena, something like that, or baseball at Globe Life, that sort of thing. But I don't see them coming to Lubbock for a while.
This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line from T-Money 806. As long as there is a Longhorn or Aggie in the governor's mansion and local representatives that bow to them, Tech will never play either of those schools again or continue to compete with their resources.
the good news is there was enough political heft behind. Outrage is a strong word, but our angst over the Texas OU pulling out of the conference that rallied the troops enough to get that Texas University Fund thing conceived on the ballot and voted in.
This on the chat line, the beer thing is especially weird because for all the fear that we were going to cross the line, what actually resulted was an incredible collegiate atmosphere. Yeah, I mean, there was a hostile group of fans that greeted their bus.
Like on practice night, on the night before. Yeah, the night they got into town, did the shoot around.
There weren't, like, decapitated horse heads in their beds.
Right,
a la Godfather. No one burned Chris Beard in effigy. Like, what?
But there was those videos on social media of the kid on the sidewalk giving him the double rods. It was so hostile and scary.
This in the Yates Flooring Center chat line, beating a dead horse, we get it, not playing Texas. Oh, well, I would prefer to hear more about the PUF fund. Explain that you keep mentioning, but giving little to no details.
TUF, Texas University Fund.
Well, I mean, that's old news.
Yeah, we voted on it 3 weeks ago. I guess our texter didn't participate in that. Like it was a constitutional amendment.
Skipping out on your civic duty.
I know, right? Man. Yeah. A $3 billion endowment created to fund the endowments of Texas Tech University system, most notably ours, Houston's, North Texas, maybe Texas State, and the systems have to qualify for it, but we already meet a lot of the metrics, and so I think the takeaway is going to be an extra like $45 million of straight money into our operations fund. Not athletic, could be some shell game benefits.
Should be
that
some
you and I talked about,
but massive fail if not.
But that's what this is, and so it was, and really all of that came out of the. I mean, I'll say it this way: it had never, if that was something that it was in the works politically and lobbyists and all that stuff. It was stuck in neutral and never got out into the hallway there in Austin, and all of a sudden, Governor Abbott and a lot of folks were like, "Hey, this would be a great thing." Now, it could have also been at the point at which people on our side were going, California has 8 AAU universities, and the state of Texas has 2 publicly funded, 3 total. Like, what are we doing here? We want to make sure that A&M and Texas have the biggest endowments in the world, but you got all these other universities around here that are on the cusp of some things with a little more funding. So who knows where all that was, but good things for Texas Tech.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.